Here's a question for you. Are people fat because they can't stop eating, or is it because their brains work differently? Almost 2/3 of adults in the UK, that's more than 30 million people, are overweight or living with obesity. By the way, I do think some of that is overblown because some people score as being obese when actually they're just quite fit and they're carrying a bit of weight. Anyway, whatever. But it's now being claimed that in some fat people, what's called the appetite control centre doesn't act in the same way. And it's all to do with our friend, the hypothalamus. Apparently, enlarged individuals also happen to have an enlarged hypothalamus, and that means that whereas most people, and I'm paraphrasing here, could look at a cake and walk past it, others have to demolish the flipping lot. I'm joined now by the presenter of Fat Families and very good friend of the show. It's the wonderful Steve Miller, who might have been eating. Anyway, Steve, great to have you on the show. Come on then, do you buy the hypothalamus thing? Do you think fat people have different brains?
Well, the hippo, actually called I think it's actually called the hypothalamus, right? and this bit of research by Cambridge University is actually quite a good bit of research. And what they did is they found that fat people have a bigger inflamed hypothalamus, right? But what we have to remember is that there's been animal studies on this sort of thing as well, which actually found if you fed mice a fatty diet, then it inflamed their hypothalamus. So my logic says to me, actually, if we change our habits, we can reduce how big this appetite center of the brain actually is. So I think that, you know, the conclusion from me is that change your habits and eat well is going to mean that your hypothalamus appetite center is going to become smaller, which means you won't have to stuff yourself quite as much to feel content and full. You know, these studies are the thing that concerns me with these studies, Patrick, is often that they come out and they're released and people use them as an excuse. You know, people today saying, I've got a hypothalamus and that, you know, it's really big and that's why I'm so fat. Well, actually, I don't think that's quite true. And actually, the researchers on this study at Cambridge University agree that actually more research needs to be done. So what I say to the public is, listen, not use this as an excuse. Change your habits and your hypothalamus will probably become a lot more healthy and smaller, meaning you don't have to stuff yourself quite as much to feel content.
You are right to correct me that it is, ironically, I should have used the word hippo as opposed to hypo there, but thank you very, very much, Steve, for that. What would you make of people who, because today as well there was another story about this great new revolutionary diet pill where you take it and it really works, and we've tested it on mice and they're all really skinny now. Is that cheating?
Well, I don't like the word cheating, but what I would say is it's the lazy option. And there's a lot of different lazy options out there. The best way to manage your weight is to do it naturally and healthily and to live 80-20, 80% healthy, 20% a bit of what you fancy. Give yourself purpose in life so you've got a reason to get up in the morning and eat some porridge rather than stuff yourself with bacon baps, right? And to actually nurture your brain and your mind as well as your body, because often we eat when we're bored. We eat when we're bored. Often we eat where we're not satisfied in life. So actually, I think, you know, it's not just about diet. This is a bigger picture. I come from a much bigger picture of that.
Absolutely.
But the one thing I tell you, one thing. The biggest thing in this country is we've got so many excuses. It's ridiculous. The British public love making excuses for being porkers, frankly. You go to Japan and try and make an excuse and they'll soon shut you down, I tell you. I know it's a challenge for people. I accept that, but there's always a way. And as for your hypothalamus, I'm damn good at making sure they reduce, right?
Good.
And you have a better one.
Good, this is it. Look, Steve, thank you very much, and I love the way that you phrase yourself, which is, you know, you're too gorgeous to be fat as well. I think it's a really good way of looking at it. I think it's a really good way of looking at it. You know, you owe it to yourself. You're too beautiful to actually allow yourself to let it all go. Steve Miller there, friend of the show, and, of course, the presenter of Fat Families as well. Fascinating stuff.